Hey guys, a few minutes after midnight, and I just wanted to get out a video about the opening day and lots of anticipation and a lot of positive vibes at 3:30, 4 a.m. yesterday morning. Turned into a little bit of reality dose this afternoon, this morning, throughout the day. Lots of little things. A brief interlude, not too long. I'm hoping you all indulge me with watching a few minutes of one of my favorite movies, but it came to mind and I wanted to put together this video before I went to bed tonight. Opening day. Maybe I picked a bad day to stop sniffing glue. A fantastic movie called Airplane. And all right, in the this is the movie theme thing. So the good, the bad, the ugly. The good, and I would even say the great. So several things to look at, but the most importantly, everyone is getting care. Um, we saved several lives today in the ER, in the red zone. That is no small feat. I actually had a friend showed up tonight around 9 p.m. when I was walking through, and they got great care. There's a lot of teamwork going on. I looked at a lot of people that were frustrated and that were stressed, but were also helping each other out with teamwork. So there was a lot of shared misery, but there's also a lot of love. And I want to go down and just single out people that I saw through the day today. And it started out this morning with Brian and JJ coming in last night, and Sylvia coming in last night when they weren't scheduled. And we cleared out the ER from last night. Tony D and Sandy and J. Chris pounding through patients last night in the old ER and transitioning to the new one. Bob Laney came in. I think he smiled all day. And Senior Bob, that is the greatest compliment I could ever give to anyone, because when I'll even refrain from my usual colorful language, when the blank storm is happening, you are a umbrella of smiles, my friend. Wolfie, you had a few patients that were sick and trying to die, and you went in there and pounded through them and saved our first life of the day. So that was fantastic. JJ had a great first sick patient as well, a CHFer that was trying to buy the tube. Um, Becky, you got piled on this afternoon because of the way we had set up the system, and you took it in stride. Kudos to you. I didn't even hear a whimper from you. RZ, not only did you play doc today, but for a good chunk of the morning, you were the only in-sight doctor there, and I know you were pulling double duty as doc plus strategy, and then helping out in some of the other areas and dealing with some of the initial miscalculations. Um, Janice Marash, you and my longtime colleague Dave Price, you guys were on island time today. You guys were doing stuff that we've never asked you to do before, and frankly, um, I'm sure made you all a little bit uncomfortable. And um, it meant a lot that you guys did that, and you did it professionally, and I think you did it wonderfully. And we're learning here; we're all learning, but you guys were out on an island today, and that's not always the being on an island is difficult. So smiles. Jay Messer, you saved our another patient today of some 90-minute trauma drama that was receiving massive transfusions and swallowed you up whole for an hour and a half to 2 hours, and did it with your usual smile and your usual good graces. And Biga Biga, you, while Judy was sucked up into that mess, took 10 red patients down the gullet and dealt with it. And that is no small feat. So you kept the ship afloat while Judy was dealing with the trauma drama, and that's just huge teamwork. Casey, you are becoming quickly a Bob Laney II in my dealings. I don't know if I've ever not seen you smile, so that means a tremendous amount on a day like today. So thank you. G Wild, aka the Buble. Dude, I had a nurse tonight just tell me he's always so nice to work with. And on a day today that was cruddy and stressful, and the fact that a nurse like pulled me aside and said he's so nice to work with, it's hard to get as nice of a compliment. Uh, Sylvia, you were there this evening, sitting in the green zone that was like a madhouse, and you were a picture of serenity, even while I was becoming unglued because the printer wasn't working. Um, you're always that calmness, and that was wonderful. Rusty Nick, dude, we were throwing you all around, and you got thrown back into green, and then you were figuring out which patients you were supposed to see and which patients you weren't, and you were doing it without without going off the handle because things weren't being clearly communicated. And not only that, you were given good care. So thank you. Jeff came in extra for a few hours. He was our wild card and came in last minute to throw down in green zone and help out yellow zone. Thank you, Jeff, for doing that, and to your family. It's a weird thing. BTIF and Sandy were there for a massive chunk of the day. JJ was there all last night. And then lastly, you guys might appreciate this, but Tim Bricker and Jane Hansen, I called them around 9:30 for IT issues, and there was somewhat of an IT storm with 4 people dropping out of the sky, so they won't see this probably, but I owe them a big thanks for getting some people in to try and get some printers fixed, and that was at 9:30. Technically, I owe the IT and informatics people a thank you as well, except I'll give that to them in a month when they won't, I think, try and kill me. So, all right. So that was the great. Um, so after the good, the great, the bad, the ugly, right? So the dance. There's a lot of different things today. We were taking notes, and we'll debrief tomorrow with Insight, or actually this morning with Insight. But the dance. Left feet with left feet. Moving patients in the internal lounges was working, sometimes not working others. How we're going to do that, etc. We are working on that dance, and it will get better. How we're rooming patients in red, how we are alerting docs that there is a patient in the room. Lots of those things were just a little bit off today, and probably coupled with the new ER and the new location. And it just, everyone was a little bit uneasy. Radiology had some problem with movement of the patients, unfamiliar ground, unfamiliar territory, moving in and out of the lounges. The lounge areas aren't the exact greatest places, and moving patients in and out of them. So things like that. And then finally, environment. 83210 I know is ringing in the back in the docks main area. I've already sent an email to get those fixed. No grease boards electronically running the docks area. We're supposed to get that fixed soon. And then the silly things that drive us crazy, like Guaya cards, and then printers that are 5 feet away from you but can't print a prescription because they're not running correctly. Those are the things that drive us crazy. And then the ugly, our yellow zone. We made some changes, and I kicked Dave Price out of there in the middle of the afternoon to bring both the docs there, and that was to make sure the docs are understanding how many of each person is taking what. There's a distribution issue where if you're separated from your colleague, you're unclear that they just intaked and sucked up 3 patients, which means you should probably suck up the next 2 or 3 patients. As much as I love capitalism, this is somewhat of a socialistic system, and that we all need to be seeing roughly equal amount of patients. Otherwise, the system will fail, because if one person is only seeing 1 patient per hour, that means the other patient is seeing 3.2 patients per hour, which is a failure on both sides. So we really have to encourage and be aware of what other people are taking up and what numbers are, so we spread the pain evenly. The stress today was massive. There was, I looked at Bob and Scott somewhere around 4 or 5 this morning, and I asked them, had they ever done a redesign and opened up a new ER on the same day, and they chuckled and said no. And I think there's good and bad about it. And we suffered a lot of the bad today. It was just uncomfortable moving around it, and everyone was getting to know the locations and the place and where stuff is and how things work and how we move patients. And I think that really impacted us. We had new processes in places where in the green zone, Janice and Sylvia and Dave and Russ were seeing patients for the first time without a triage physician. Hey guys, PAs, nurse practitioner, if we didn't trust you, we wouldn't hire you. And we trust you to look at that patient and say, I'm good with this, or I need some additional information, or I'm going to add this test. Trust in yourself. We trust you guys. So that's all I can say about that, and we'll grow together with this. The discomfort of walking into a room and having to do basically triage, intake, and evaluation, physical exam all into one, and then get out and throw orders down. I know for the past week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, all you guys have been hearing is like, get into the room, see the patients. The nurses have been told that to pound and have you guys get into the rooms. In the end, if a patient is waiting for 25 minutes for a sprained ankle to have a door to MD time of 25 minutes, I will stand on that all day long and say, we did right because we were saving someone else in another room, or we were dispoing someone else that needed to get home. So the clock is ticking, but understand that it's a clock and it's not the most important thing. We always need to be quick. We always need to be moving forward. But the rank of where we do things is one of those difficult to put down in concrete terms. If I had to, I would say disposition your patients and triage your patients 1A and 1B, almost like two racehorses side by side. They're both equally important, but when the department starts filling up, we need to start dispositing patients. So patients that have everything back and are just waiting for us to make the final decision, we got to act on that. Today we got full, and tonight around 8 and 9 p.m. and even during the afternoon, we had times where we ran out of beds, which we saw coming at around 2 in the afternoon. We saw where our patient, we were holding 50 patients in the ER at 2 p.m. and that meant that at 6 and 7 p.m. we're going to be in the 60 and 70 range, and we don't have that many beds. So disposition patients. We're going to educate and talk tomorrow morning with the big crew as far as, hey, a nurse doesn't expect you to get up within 30 seconds and see the patient. So if you're on there and you can get rid of a patient, dispo that patient, then go see the new patient. I know it's incredibly frustrating to be interrupted, but understand that those patients had all previously been sitting in the waiting room in an uncontrolled environment, and who had been perhaps triaged by the physician very quickly out front, but they were sitting there uncontrolled. We've brought that chaos back in front of you, and we all are going to take some time to get used to the discomfort of having that chaos not separated by 50 feet and a waiting room wall. It's right there in front of us, and we own it. We owned it before, but now we own it because we've said hello to them, or we need to go say hello to them and get things going. So we understand the discomfort. It is what it is. All right, so I thought of this at some point today. I think it was I woke up briefly from a nap, and I took the nap, and I was angry and sad and pissed off, and I wanted this day to go better than it did. If I would give this day a grade, it would be a C or a C minus. Earlier in the day, it was a D plus. As I left there tonight around 10 p.m., it was a C plus. And it reminded me of a scene from one of the greatest movies ever, Seabiscuit. So I will play it. It's like 3 or 4 minutes long. So I hope you watch it, and then I'll finish up this diatribe.
The first time he saw Seabiscuit, the colt was walking through the fog at 5 in the morning. Smith would say later that the horse looked right through him, as if to say, "What the hell are you looking at? Who do you think you are?" He was a small horse, barely 15 hands. He was hurting too. There was a limp in his walk, a wheezing when he breathed. Smith didn't pay attention to that. He was looking the horse in the eye.
God damn.
He was the son of Hardtack, sired by the mighty Man-O-War, but the breeding did little to impress anyone at Claiborne Farms.
Get rid of him.
At 6 months, he was shipped off to train with the legendary trainer Sonny Fitzsimmons, who, over time, developed a similar opinion of the colt.
Is that a racehorse or a lead pony?
The judgment wasn't helped by his gentle nature. Where his sire had been a fierce, almost violent competitor, Seabiscuit took to sleeping for huge chunks of the day and enjoyed lolling for hours under the boughs of the juniper trees. His other great talent was eating. Though half the size of other colts, Seabiscuit could frequently eat twice as much. Fitzsimmons decided the horse was lazy and felt sure he could train the obstinance out of him.
I want you to hit him as many times as you can over a quarter of a mile.
When he didn't improve, they decided the colt was incorrigible. They made him a training partner to better horses, forcing him to lose head-to-head duels to boost the confidence of the other animal. By the time he was 3 years old, Seabiscuit was struggling in 2 cheap claiming races a week. And soon he grew as bitter and angry as his sire Hardtack had been. He was sold for the rock-bottom price of $2,000. And of course, it all made sense. Champions were large, they were sleek, they were without imperfection. When they finally did race him, he did just what they had trained him to do. He lost.
What exactly is it you like?
Got spirit.
I'll say.
Can he be ridden?
Oh, sure. Eventually. He can't.
Hungry? Huh? Yeah. Bet you are. Huh? Come on. Come on, boy. Yeah.
Why don't you just breeze him around one turn, give the folks a look.
Great.
Red Pollard, Mr. and Mrs. Howard.
Yeah. Hi. Hello.
Well, we'll just be moving on.
Does he breeze?
Well, we'll find out.
Seems pretty fast.
Yeah, in every direction. Hell, he's so beat up, it's hard to tell what he's like. I just can't help feeling they got him so screwed up running in a circle, he's forgotten what he was born to do. He just needs to learn how to be a horse again.
Well, how do you do that?
How far do you want me to take him?
Till he stops.
Okay. That seems like a pretty good ride.
Hope so.
That's it, boy. Yeah, all right. Let's see what you got, boy. Huh! 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 Woo! That's it, Pops. That's it.
So I wish we had a better first day. I know we're gonna have a better second day. We're gonna look at data. We're gonna make decisions based on that data. We got slapped today. We had two separate, like, just patients raining from the heavens. During that time, all the same time, we reduced physician hours. We had big hold issues today, and we opened up a brand new ED. I know we have the people and the staff, um, the docs, the nurses, the ancillary staff, to make this work. I'm confident it's going to work. I wish I could look at y'all and say that we had a banner first day. We didn't, but I am confident that tomorrow will be better, and a week from now we'll be ready to roll into Mercy and continue it. So, wanted to get this out and give everybody an honest appraisal. There's a lot of other little things that we are working on, lots of little IT stuff and everything, and we'll get those taken care of as well. So that's it. Thanks for listening, and we will see you around the shack tomorrow. Bye bye.